Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the TRBusiness Adapt and Survive Skype video series. For anyone that doesn't know, the purpose of these interviews is to provide insight into how duty-free and travel retail stakeholders and their companies are coping during the COVID-19 crisis. Today, we are joined by Schåfer Airport Retail Managing Partner, John Woodhouse.
Yeah, Andrew, how much things have changed in the last 2 months. We knew when we were here 2 months ago that we were struggling a bit with Chinese passengers. It was around Chinese New Year, and it was just the time where China was starting to introduce some of the restrictions on traveling. None of us at that stage expected it to hit Europe so hardly and so quickly, and then travel so quickly throughout North America, Latin America, and Africa.
Okay, so we will kick things off on that basis with just a quick question as to how the COVID-19 crisis is affecting your duty-free and travel retail business.
Andrew, like everyone else in travel retail, we've seen the decline in passengers. Just before I came on the call here, I had a look at Cologne Airport for the next 24 hours. And in 24 hours, an airport that normally does 12 to 14 million passengers a year has only got 4 passenger flights. So the flights have been cancelled. When flights are cancelled, passengers don't fly. When passengers don't fly, the stores are empty. It's a virtuous cycle. And at this stage, it's a downward spiral for the travel retail business. It'll come back. It'll come back quite quickly, we hope. But at this stage, there's very, very little business.
So amid all the doom and gloom, how would you describe the mood of your team in the office? I say I've had the privilege of visiting your office. I've met all your team. So how is everybody bearing up and how has the routine changed?
Surprisingly good, Andrew. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. The first thing is we've tried to keep everyone together as a team. The team has moved from office, and as you can see, we were quite a close-knit team, and everyone is now working from home. And that's been probably the biggest change. That took a bit of getting used to for everyone, including myself. It's many, many years since I've worked from home for 2 weeks non-stop. But it's great to see the entrepreneurial spirit of the team led by Joachim. He's such an entrepreneurial guy, as you know, having met him a number of times. He's driven the business forward, and together we're driving the team to continue working. We're not waiting for business to come to us, and we're continually talking to our stakeholders in the business to try and make sure that when the travel retail side of the business comes back, we're stronger. And then we're also continuing to work on the retail distribution business. This has been a slower decline than the airport specific sales, mainly helped by the fact that a number of our partners don't just have airport retail businesses, but they've got off airport businesses as well that they're still willing to buy from. We've also looked at our product range, and we had started this before coronavirus hit Europe. Over the last 8 weeks, we've been working on introducing a range of Move branded KN95 masks and also hand sanitizer and cleaning wipes. We believe that these will be part of travel retail for the time being, and maybe even up to 18 months, as passengers still have a little bit of anxiety about traveling in such close proximity to other people.
As I say, from my perspective, I'm really looking forward to seeing these new face masks. I think it's a fantastic idea. Do you have any plans to take this further? I mean, are you going to expand? Are you going to expand the range to add even more value?
What we're looking at doing is creating a travel health and well-being concept for retailers that has a number of products that are ready to roll into stores when they open. That will contain hand sanitizer, face masks, mosquito repellent, because we've all heard the stories within travel retail of the impact that malaria can have on people. And products like that people can look and buy, thermometers, products that people can look at, go, oh, I need this for my trip, and then be more confident about travel and be less stressed about the travel that they're going to get on. It's going to take a number of months for traffic to come back from zero, and then a number of months after that before people are really happy in traveling again. And we just want to try and help our travel retail partners and distribution partners through that period.
Because whenever we've met, you've always like emphasised that your model is not just, you know, to ship products, but to add value to the channel. How important is this initiative in terms of your strategy to continue adding value to the channel, especially during this difficult period?
We think this is critical. We think that for a distributor to be successful and for a distributor to add value, they have to add value and not just ship a box of products. So it's something that we're always conscious of. How can we add more to help our retailers sell more and be more profitable? So it's all part of that. This is something that we're doing in conjunction with our partners, not alone. And it's something that our partners are very, very keen to retail in their stores. A number of them think this is going to be a very important part of them getting people back into their stores.
And taking into account this new launch and the fact that you're working on a lot of other projects behind the scenes, how do you think your business will look when doors do start to reopen again?
We had a very good conversation, Andy, back in February about our pipeline for the year. We think our pipeline for the year is still remarkably strong. We believe that the vast majority of projects that we've identified will come to fruition. They may come to fruition a little bit later than we had hoped because of the effective pause in the business for 3 months. But we do believe that, number one, we can hit budget in terms of sales and profitability for this year. And number two, grow the business strategically in the direction we want to do it. It's an ask, but we're still very much focused around delivering that. Our health and well-being ranges are helping us with this as well.
And can you just elaborate a bit on, you talked about like your aspirations for the rest of the year. How do you think the year will ultimately pan out in terms of duty-free and travel retail compared to your initial forecast, in your heart of hearts?
Okay, heart of hearts, and this is not just Schåfer Airport Retail, this is as an industry. I think the next quarter is going to be exceedingly difficult. I think so. Quarter one and towards the end of quarter two are going to be tough. Traffic will start coming back in June, I believe. If you look at what airlines such as British Airways and the low-cost carriers like Ryanair and Cathay Pacific, they seem to be looking at trying to put capacity back into the market by June. Between now and June, they'll be running a skeleton service. For example, Cathay Pacific only has 3 flights a week to Europe at this time. Traffic will start coming back and people will start traveling again. I think after this period of being locked up at home, people want to go out. People will feel that they deserve a holiday. It all depends on how quickly we as a globe can get through this coronavirus. So, Andrew, to answer your question, the Pernod Ricard numbers of -80% for this quarter, I think that's probably quite a good number to start with. I think by quarter four, the business should be back as normal. And let's hope we have a good summer, because so much of this industry relies around having a good summer.
Okay, and once people do start travelling again, how will the travel experience in 2020 be different to any time in the past decade, and why?
I think if you look at where travel retail really takes place in an airport, and not all of it, but most of it, we are the first people to meet customers once they come through security in general. We've built great walk-through stores, and Robbie Gale from Design Solutions and Chris Morris from Concourse have built fantastic retail concepts and locations. We are the first people that customers meet and passengers meet after they go through security. Up until now, and probably in the last decade, people have come through security and they immediately have thought, the holiday starts now. And all the concerns about missing the flight, all the concerns about check-in, security, immigration are gone. I now want to shop. Now, how do we get them to continue doing that? Because the immediate thing they're now concerned about is, am I going to be safe on my airplane? So the stress is going to continue with them until they get off the airplane on the far side. So we as retailers have the prime responsibility to change that in the mind of the customer base. So we are going to have to work hard to give them what is relevant to them after security. And this is probably why the interest in our KN95 masks, our hand sanitizers, and the cleaning wipes has become so become so high, because the travel retailers are saying that this is what the customers will be looking for when they come through security, perhaps for the next 18 months. And by presenting these to them, they will purchase them, and then hopefully they will continue to travel around the entire duty-free store and fill their basket. But we think this is one of the primal needs now in traveling is, am I going to be safe on the airplane? Am I going to be safe when I travel? And we've picked 2 or 3 products. We hope to supplement this with other products such as mosquito spray. We've all read the stories of how bad malaria can be for passengers, and things like thermal thermometers from brands like Boyer, to put together a range of products that when passengers come through the airport, they go, that's what I need, I'll buy it, I now feel more comfortable, I'll now go and shop luxury.
So you have a great pipeline. I mean, this launch of the face mask, it couldn't be more timely, and it sounds like it was a real team effort. So many congratulations on it.
It's been an all team airport. It's paying tribute to my partner Joachim, whose entrepreneurial spirit. He worked with Formula One, and he still seems to have the Formula One spirit of bringing these products to market. And it's happened through Herculean work between Joe, Samantha, Marius, and the broader team to get this, and Lingy and the entire team to get this, source it, ensure it has all the right certifications, all the right packaging, labeling, and then work through the difficulty of shipping when basically all the air freight is drying up, to get the products on ground at the start of March has been a Herculean task. And kudos to Joe and the team he's put together to do this. It's been fantastic.
I have no doubt that you will accomplish everything that you need to do associated with this launch, and I wish you lots of luck. Just moving on, John, you have worked for some of the leading retailers in the world over a long period of time, and you've actually worked amid several other crises like SARS, for example. How would you say the impact of COVID-19 on duty-free and travel retail compares to the impact SARS had, and maybe some of the other crises?
I was working for a subsidiary of Delta Airlines during 9/11, and I was on a conference call with head office in Atlanta during 9/11, and I remember the immediate shock of that. But that really affected Europe and North America. What we're seeing here is a global fear of getting sick, and a global fear of traveling. After 9/11, there was a significant impact in North America that came back in about 3 months. This is to get back to normal in about 3 months. This is going to take longer. SARS was also localized and regionalized. This is, and if you look at what IATA, the International Air Transport Association, are saying about this, they looked at SARS and said that the entire business from start to finish took 18 months to get back to normal in terms of air travel. So if we look at that, we are now entering into month 3 of SARS equivalent. So we're now entering into month 3. We then have another 6 months out before traffic is back to normal, I believe. So business will start again in June, and business will look forward. Will people be shopping differently? Quite possibly. Remember that the Chinese travelers, travel retail is a considerable part of their journey. But for the rest of the world, travel retail is an impulse purchase. So we just have to make sure that we create conducive concepts, brands, promotions to fit the new mindset. A lot of people are taking quite significant pay cuts over these 3, 6, 9 months. They're not going to have as much disposable income in their pocket. We may see a return to more value retailing in the short term before we then come back into our normal premium retailing in Europe. And we think China and Asia may come back quicker into the premium retail market. That's my opinion, and I can't wait for the rest of these calls to hear what other people think.
Challenging times ahead for everyone, indeed. Just finally then, what message do you have for your supplier counterparts and retail counterparts, brand counterparts? Just what would your message be?
This is difficult for everybody. This is difficult for the passenger. First and foremost, we're here to serve the passenger. This is difficult for the retailers because they have no revenue coming in. and they still have minimum guarantees, they're sitting on a lot of stock. As distributors and brands, we also have problems. Are we getting paid? Are retailers getting paid? We all have bills, so we all have to play our part in keeping this business going, and we have to work as a community to keep this going. In some ways, Andy, there's been a lot of talk about sustainability. This is back to the sustainability of travel retail, and there's so many different parts in this business that we have to we have to retain the sustainability in the business. It doesn't mean that we forget about the environment. It's just we also now have to think about the sustainability of the business model we're working in. And it all comes down to honest, open, transparent negotiations and discussions between everybody in the business, so that when we are ready to open, the stores are ready to open. They still have staff, they still have products, and they still have people who are willing to distribute and work towards the future of the business. Travel retail and travel is a resilient business. It always has come back. We probably haven't witnessed something so extreme in the business, perhaps since the closure of intra-European duty-free. But companies had 2 years to work for that. Companies have had 6 weeks to plan in Europe at maximum for what they're witnessing at the moment. This is big, and we just have to make sure that we as an industry together, led by people like TFWA and led by the ETRC in Europe and APTRA, work together to make sure that everyone in the industry works and everyone in the industry remains solvent in the business. And that is our hope. We believe, as Schåfer Airport Retail, we've done our homework. We can survive this, and we're hoping that everybody, our stakeholders, vertically, horizontally, and below us, we all survive and we all move forward.
Very defiant words, John. As I say, challenging and difficult times for everybody. And it's interesting that you mentioned sustainability. That is something that's close to the heart of TRBusiness, and we will continue to bring coverage across the industry on people's sustainability initiatives. John, it's been great speaking to you. I look forward to meeting in much happier circumstances somewhere soon. And thanks for taking the time to speak to me.
Yeah, and Andrew, thank you very much. Timing is wonderful, as you know, in the world, but we believe that the stores that we've opened in January and February, when they are back and customers are back in them in June, they'll be as successful as ever. Thank you for your time, Andy, and see you soon.
Take care, John. Thank you.
Okay.